Hi everyone, it is 1:57 on Tuesday, April 28th, and I am coming on 3 minutes early for my 2 o'clock. I just got home from a run. Woo! It's really important that we all take breaks. So, getting back to work. I have one person in. Awesome. I have come on 2 minutes early. So, the materials you will want for this video are question 2 and question 8. Some of you did this writing last Thursday, some of you did this last Friday, and some of you did it yesterday. So I know for myself, I've not only got my paper for question 2 and 8, I've got something to write with, and then I've also got this chart in front of me. I have the book, a copy of the book, and some sticky notes. So please take these 2 minutes to get all the materials. You definitely want your question 2 and question 8. And so this is my YouTube live at 2 o'clock. So if I asked you to come at 2 o'clock, then I wanted you to be a part of this to know how to revise. But I did not schedule any meetings at 2 o'clock. So I'm not sure. I'm going to go back to Class Dojo and check that, but I am giving another 2 minutes. Please get your materials, get seated. Go have a look at question 2 and question 8 on Google Drive while you wait. Go back and look at that identity map if you need to, but we are going to get started very shortly. You want materials in front of you to help you. I don't have a 2 o'clock scheduled for today. So if that was a one-time thing, maybe that's what you're thinking of. But Angela, I have you at 2:40 on Wednesday, and I have you at 11:20 on Thursdays, but I don't have conferences scheduled with you on Tuesdays at all. So I'm not sure where you're getting that from. But we don't have a meeting at 2 because I do this at 2. Okay, I have 4 people. Okay, a couple more people coming in. I did invite some people. Type your name in the live chat and make sure, I'm gonna maybe stretch this video out a little more. Make sure you guys type about the learning so I can give you participation that way. If you just say hi, you just put your name, that's not enough. I need you to, throughout this video, not the whole time, but throughout, just keep track or make little notes and comments. Okay, so I am doing this video to help you out with question 2 and question 8. So this is due today. I need this work done. And it's not just that I need this work done, it's really, really important for writing. So question 2 and question 8, I'm going to read them to you so you guys can remember, but you should have yours in front of you. Question 2 is on Google Drive for yesterday, and it said, why does Sujin consider changing her name? Why do you think Amina is uncomfortable with the idea of Sujin changing her name? Have you ever wanted to change your own name? That was question 2. So right now, look at the work in front of you. And if you have already done question 2, then you should start to see that answer right in front of you. If you have not done this work, then this is on Google Drive from yesterday. In this video, I'm going to actually help you guys revise question 8. So I'm going to read question 8. And again, you guys should have already done this and have it in front of you. But question 8 is a little bit different. Question 8 says, both Amina and Sujin have been teased because of the food they bring to school or the way their food smells. Why do you think people tease or bully kids who are different? If you were in Amina or Sujin's position, how would you respond? If you encounter someone from a different cultural background, how should you respond to them? So I'm going to be taking question 8. And I'm actually going to be not writing it, but helping you guys revise to get an A or a B. Okay. So the first thing to note is that question 8 is not just one question. It's actually 3 questions put together. And so some of you guys have done your answer and your response, and look at your writing because you'll be able to see this. What you did is you answered the first question, and then you answered the second question, and then you answered the third question. So when you look at your writing, some of you have sentence 1, sentence 2, sentence 3, and that's it. So you answered the questions, but it's not at a 5th grade level yet, because in 5th grade, they want more. So if that's you, then make sure you have your pencil ready and put a little star or a note, because you're gonna need to add and revise, okay? So what I do is I think about all the strategies we've done so far this year, okay? Even though there are 3 little questions, really this question is all about the same idea. So I'm gonna read the question, and I want you guys to put in the chat right now, what big idea? What's the main idea of this whole question? What's like 1-word summary or 2-word summary? What are the important ideas you have to write about? It says, both Amina and Sujin have been teased because of the food they bring to school or the way their food smells. Why do you think people tease or bully kids who are different? If you were in Amina or Sujin's position, how would you respond? If you encounter someone from a different cultural background, how should you respond to them? There's a lot in that question, but if you had to pick like 2-word summary, what would you say are the 2 big words or ideas from that question? What do you guys think? Go ahead and type that down. Type that in, rather. Because instead of answering one question at a time, I want you guys to think about, what is this whole question really about? What's the big picture? And on my piece of paper, I'm going to put down the 2 words that I think, or 3 words. What is that question really about? It's not just about food. That's not really what the question's asking. Question 8. I'm not seeing anyone type it. I'm going to try to hold off as long as I can. There were some really important ideas in that question. Both Amina and Sujin have been teased because of the food they bring to school or the way their food smells. This question isn't just about food, though. It says, why do people tease or bully kids who are different? If you were in Amina or Sujin's position, how would you respond? If you encounter someone from a different cultural background, how should you respond to them? So, what are the words? For me, what is this question really about? What's the main idea? What's this question all about? This question is asking about the book, but really this question is all about bullying and what to do with people who are from different cultures. So when you answer this question, these are actually the ideas we want to talk about. We don't just want to talk about the food. And yesterday, I wanted you to look at this identity map and to connect to this work on identity. Not just answer a question. I wanted you to make connections and think about big picture stuff. So if I say bullying, and especially if I say cultural, what from the identity map goes with cultural and bullying in this book? Okay? And again, Amina's a girl, but does that really have to do with cultural right now? No. Okay. In this book, there's nothing about money that makes it important. There's no one living in poverty. There's no issues about money. Ooh, sticky notes backwards. Okay. So I'm going to just get rid of a couple more. And you guys, I'm not seeing a lot of people typing, but hopefully you're talking out loud with me. Okay, what's another one I could get rid of that doesn't have to do with cultural or bullying in this book? Well, this one has nothing to do with cultural or bullying in the book. Amina is saying, oh, middle school is really tough, but that's not really what this question is about. Yep, awesome. This one doesn't come up in this book at all. Nothing about ability or disability. Okay. And so if we go back to the question, this question was about bullying someone culturally. So this goes with our work on identity. But more than identity, it goes with nationality or someone's background. So rather than just answer this question, the first thing I'm doing is thinking, okay, what's this question really about? And how does that connect to the work that I've been doing in my other videos? Always making connections. So identity, I'm going to add that to my plan. And this isn't a planning sheet. This is just me thinking about my ideas. So identity is really important. And also, I think nationality, right? The country she's from, that has to do with her culture and the bullying. So now, instead of just answering these questions randomly, I am thinking about a main idea. And now I'm going to talk about bullying and how it goes with someone's culture, how it goes with someone's identity and nationality. Okay. This question did ask me to talk about food. That was a part of the question. And we know from the very beginning of the year that the food goes with culture. But in this book, this is multiple examples. Ready? I'm going to be impressed if someone can type this because this is a tough one. Amina has these memories throughout the story. She's having a memory about the food, right? She says she was bullied and made fun of and humiliated. And that's actually in today's reading, chapter 6. So Amina is having a memory about the food. But Amina has a memory in another chapter you've already read, not just about food, but something else from her culture. And it starts with Lang. She has a memory where someone is making fun of not just the food, but language. And language is part of culture. So this is multiple examples. Instead of just talking about Amina being bullied based on the food, I'm actually doing really high level thinking because I'm going to say, is there something else that Amina gets bullied on in her culture? And actually in the book, do you guys remember now that I've said it? She has a memory where they're getting teased about language. Yeah, and I think a lot of you guys are going, oh, that's right. Okay, and I couldn't think of another one, but if you guys do, you can type it. Could we actually come up with another example? Is Amina or Sujin, are they bullied based on their culture? For another example, not just food or language. That's the two I came up with. But you see, I'm not just answering each part of the question. I have spent like 7 minutes really sitting, making connections, putting that in my response, and now I've got multiple examples, food and language. Okay? And I've used my awesome reading strategy to help me with writing. Everything is connected. So I'm like, okay, memories. All right. So now I could start writing, and you guys could start writing, because you remember Amina and Sujin were bullied based off of their culture, their food, their language. You could talk about this work on identity and how a nationality goes with this. But that would still not be quite that 5th grade level. Okay, we have more to talk about now. But you guys should know that if you really want to be a strong writer, I mean, forget 5th grade, think about your future, think about forever and ever, is not just writing about the book, but how do you put yourself inside that story? How do you see yourself in stories? And the strategy I've given you guys to do that is to use that ladder. So I'm actually going to draw this ladder on my planning sheet. And I want you guys to think about, let's not just answer the question about Amina and not just answer the question about Sujin, but how can we put ourselves or synthesize ourselves in this book? How can we use our experience to do these things too? Okay? Yeah, absolutely. Belinda, that's exactly what I want you to notice is the identity chart goes with this question. Absolutely. And yep, Jamarion's got one right there. We've also got food. Is it food? How would you describe that one? It is going with culture, but Jamarion, I think you've added more. It's not just the smell of the food. It's not just bringing food into the lunchroom. You're also talking about the food that her family serves and that discrimination. Okay, so let's go ahead and go do this work with our ladder. Okay. So I'm drawing a ladder, and you can draw it on your paper too. So we want to make sure we don't just answer this question all about Amina or all about Sujan. Really strong writers see their own lives in stories. Okay. So the first step of the ladder is always, always, always yourself. So this whole question is about bullying and culture and identity with nationality. So you have to sit and think, do you have any personal connections to this? Okay. And when I do this part of the ladder, I know right away that I don't. I am from a single culture. I'm not multicultural. I've grown up in America my whole life. I don't have any different language or food than the people around me are very similar to me. So unfortunately for me, when I start my ladder, I don't have personal connections. And I know a lot of people in our class, we are so multicultural as a school that someone's already talked about how they can connect their life to this example. So think for yourself, and if you have a personal connection, jot down a couple words or put a little star, because you could talk about your own life and put it in there. Okay? All right, and I might have to go soon. I just got a really, really bad text. We'll see. We're going to finish this though. After personal, what's the next level? You could say personal and family. You could think about someone in your family. I kind of like putting those together because maybe it's not you, but maybe your mother or your father immigrated, and maybe your mother, father, grandfather, auntie, uncle, they have this experience. And so you could not just talk about yourself, you could talk about someone within your family. Okay, and now you're elaborating because you can not just talk about the story, you're putting your life with the story. Okay. All right. So now we're going up the ladder. Okay. So in my family, I'm not very multicultural. My family, my background. So for me, I'm finding this a little bit challenging. But some of you, I think, are going boom, boom, boom. My family, my background. When they moved, awesome. Use that. Okay. Now this one is important. We know the next step on the ladder is our community. So you could think about your neighborhood. But I like to just kind of jump to this one, school. Because in the story, the bullying based on their culture is taking place at school. And that's a setting that we live in. We live in a school, we experience school. So whenever the book takes place in school, if our lives take place in school, man, we can make lots and lots of connections. Awesome. Awesome. Use that comparison in your writing. That's fab, Jamarian. Use that. Awesome, awesome. So let's look at school. So you guys, in your own lives, do you see bullying based on culture or someone's nationality in schools? Now you have an example to speak upon. I can think about when I was your age and in school how I saw that, but I can also think about it from my teacher perspective because I got that double side. And I could talk about how students experience that I've taught. But I know that a lot of you right now are putting a star next to this part of the ladder because the school connection for you is really strong. Remember, we're not just talking about bullying in school. It's bullying based on culture or identity. It's all of these ideas. Because I could see some people getting tricked and saying, this kid was bullying my friend about who liked to. That's different. This is cultural. I'm asking you to be a little bit more mature idea-wise. Okay. So after school, we could keep going up the ladder. We could say the state of Florida. So maybe, or you're Apopka City. For me, when I think about Florida, I don't really have a lot of knowledge about this, so I'm going to keep moving up my ladder. I'm not going to get stuck on something I don't really have a lot of knowledge on. When I think about the next level, our country, man. Yeah, and I did skip community, right? When I think about our country and I think about bullying and culture, it's not called bullying anymore, but I can think of people being unfair and mistreating people based on culture. I see that in the news. I've seen movies. I know the history of our nation. You guys know about civil rights movement, bullying, and that's not based on culture. That's based on race. Okay, so now I'm bringing as many connections as you can make. It's still identity, but now I'm saying it's not just cultural. So you guys can think, is there anything that you've seen about culture in America? Oh my God, I just had a realization. The Mexican border wall. Some of you might say that is a form of mistreating people based on nationality. That's your call. Some of you might think that's fair. Some of you might think that's not fair. But again, I'm bringing back identity and nationality, similar ideas. Okay? So this bullying in Amina's life, based on her culture, is a lot like the issues that happen in America with people's nationality. Whoa. Whoa. Really powerful thought. And lastly, you could think not just of America, you could think about other countries around the world. And this is why being knowledgeable about social studies is important, because this is bullying. Amina's life is bullying in a school, but do you know about places around the world that have issues with identity and people being mistreated by culture? Remember, it's this bullying. So we want to keep with this same main idea. It's going to be negative. Positive and negative can go a long way. So I put a little negative to remind me that I'm talking about negatives. All right. So hopefully you put some stars along the way and you have some ideas. I just mentioned a lot of elaboration strategies. So this is my idea section. Now I'm going to go ahead and put something down here. Okay. Remember though, this question is asking you about negative. It's saying bullying based on culture. So you want to make sure you stick to that main idea. Just like essays, if I'm going to tell you why something's great, I need to stick to why it's great. If this question is about bullying and cultural, then we're going to use that. So I'm seeing some people in the comments, you guys are talking about the history for a flag. Is that going with negative feelings towards people's culture, or is that going with negative feelings towards people's nationality? Are you guys sticking with this main idea? Be careful, because otherwise now you're going off topic. Okay, so here we go. Wow, I think that a lot of you are sitting there going, oh, I have all these ideas, I have all these ideas. You've just got to make sure you're focused and you stick to this bullying and culture and you stick to negative. Okay, look at all these amazing words. Expert talk. I can use expert talk. I could say, bullying happens in Amina's life in many different ways, and especially culturally. Okay, culture is da 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 da. So you could do expert talk. Boom. Multiple examples. And I kind of helped you guys with that one. That one was a little bit tricky. You had to reach back in your mind. But don't just talk about Amina's food and how she was hurt or bullied based on her food. Also the example about the language. So I've got 2 examples I can use down there. And I'm going to give you guys a sentence starter. This one is gold. I know you guys learned it this year, but take this with you to middle school. It's comparing 2 things. And I'm going to set mine up and then turn around. Blank is a lot like blank because blank. And Jamarion kind of did that earlier when he said that family is similar to a roller coaster. Just make sure when you guys compare 2 things, you have to stick to this main idea. You don't want to get off topic. So if you want to say bullying someone based on their culture is a lot like, and then you can say whatever knowledge you have about America. Or you could use your knowledge about another country to say bullying someone based on their culture is a lot like bullying someone based on their nationality because blank. This is an awesome sentence starter to help you guys. You can't just say, oh, that's a lot, bullying someone based on their culture is a lot like the history to a country's flag. I don't know what you're talking about. You got to explain it, but really make sure you're sticking to this main idea about negative. It's all about how bullying and culture and how that's a lot like other things. All right? So I'm going to hold this here. I'm going to hold it very still. So when you rewatch this video later or right now, you can take a screenshot or you can pause it and then you have this paper in front of you. This section on the top was me planning my ideas, just kind of making connections. That was all I did, is I just spent some time sitting and thinking. And then this bottom section was when I said, okay, how can I elaborate? What do I know about elaborating from this school year and in the years past? My 4th grade teacher, my 3rd grade teacher. Okay? And that's pretty much it. That was what I wanted to share with you guys. I wanted to pull this back out so you understood. And now look back at your writing too, some of you that have it. Did you just answer question 1, question 2, question 3? Or did you actually notice that this was kind of like a main idea and you can actually talk about lots of different ideas? You actually have lots of connections to make. So if you look at the writing you've started in front of you, I think a lot of you are realizing, okay, I can elaborate. I have ideas, but the key is sitting down and actually saying, okay, how can I think about the big picture, which is like main idea. Okay, what are the big ideas? What's this question really about? How can I not just talk about Amina's life? How can I talk about my world and my life? That's it. 2 things. What's really important in this question? What's the big deal about this question? How can I make this not just about Amina's life? How can I make it about my life? And that's it. So I talked about question 8 in this video, but you guys also have question 2 to do. So when you do question 2, I want to invite you to sit down and to actually go through that same thought. Question 2 is all about Sujin's name. So when you go back to revise question 2, get your identity chart out and say the same process we did. Think about how it connects. Think about what the big picture is. And think about how that relates to our world. Not just my life, but this world. Okay? All right, I'm going to stay on. That was a little bit longer than usual, but I wanted to go slow. You guys were doing a good job of bringing up things to my attention. So with this last 2 minutes, I'll let you guys ask any questions that you have, and I'll say a few reminders. This was just the Q&A video. This is not the lesson for today. So you still have to go to the reading playlist. Big picture, you got it, girl. You still have to go to the reading playlist. You still have to do chapter 6 and the assignments. My afternoon class, your tracker got completely updated before noon. So make sure you go back and look at that. This is the Q&A. So when you look at your tracker and say, what's the YouTube Q&A? This was it. So if you get stuck, you can come back. Okay? Big picture, it could relate to your personal family and to Amina's. Absolutely. If you have that family connection, use it. All right, I've got 1 more minute to answer anything else. Otherwise, you guys can float out. That is totally fine. You guys can float out, text me with your questions. Awesome. I'm so glad it was helpful. It's just sitting down and consciously making connections. But now that you guys saw me hold things up, I think you guys know how to make those connections. Awesome. All right, make sure you send me a photo of your work tonight, please. Thank you. And I got another 30 seconds. Any other questions? This video will be saved in the writing playlist. So if later, oh my gosh, where's that video? Writing playlist. Goodbye, Yordi. Thank you. 20 seconds. Not seeing anything. All right, guys. You guys are awesome writers. You guys are awesome readers. Just really think about that brain. Remember, it's only question 2 and question 8. That's yesterday's work, so it's in yesterday's Google Drive folder. That's where you can find it. And I'll put it in the comments right now. Thank you for asking me that again. I am actually going to put the link in for Monday right now, Bailey. So that is the Google Drive link to Monday's folder. And then if you want to go to Tuesday, which is today, all you have to do is go back to Hodges and you'll see today's assignment. Let me know if that's good, Bailey, if that's what you wanted. I just put Monday's folder in. Today's is just clicking Hodges, and today's is out. So today you've got a lot of vocabulary to hunt for and to think about in chapter 6. It's all about strategies and thinking. And then you're going to update your plot mountain. And you have one really interesting question to think about for today. So work very hard. Quality is more important. Take your time. Do your best work. Then send it to me. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Make sure you look at the reading video. That's today's assignment. I'm so super happy this helped so many of you guys. You got it. See you later. Bye.